And good evening, everybody. Welcome back, and welcome to episode 161 of New York Red Bulls Discussion Group, the podcast. Gary Redmond here at your service. Greetings and salutations. Your hosts for the evening, Mark Coates and Nick Lianos, will be with me shortly. Let's talk about what we're going to be talking about tonight. Well, there was supposed to be there was a game on Saturday that unfortunately went on the wrong side. New York Red Bulls versus FC Cincinnati, and took only one goal, and pretty much that's all thing. We'll point the fingers on what went wrong, what really went wrong, and we'll move on to the game. Of course, naturally, there will be an international break, so there's no game on next Saturday. We'll be back, of course, with Columbus Crew versus the New York Red Bulls 2 weeks from now, and which just happens to be Decision Day. That is the day, well, the decision was already made. The Red Bulls are not going to the playoffs. So right now they're playing out the string, and this game, well, this for all intents and purposes is for pride or whatever the case may be, or some people basically playing for their jobs. And that is where our host today, our final Red Bulls download, with a special guest, Anthony Merced. He's been doing this with us all year long. We couldn't done this without them. Of course, he has a juicy nuggets to drop before he signs off for the year. Now, of course, and everything else after that, we have updates and reviews and previews of New Jersey, New York, Gotham FC. They're still in the hunt for the playoff. They're trying to get a higher seeding. They're in third right now, trying to move up. And, of course, New York Red Bulls 2. They punched their ticket to the postseason. In doing that in grand style, they were able to not only clinch the conference, but the division and home court, which means that the road to the championship is going through the campus, y'all, and we'll explain the reason why y'all should be going over there to MSU Soccer Park. And, of course, this is the live stream that's happening right now. And if you want to able to catch the recording and everything else on a YouTube channel, please do so. And don't forget to like and subscribe and tell your friends. We love it when you do it. Channel, of course, X, formerly, of course, Twitter. And, of course, we're home from the very beginning, from day one, Spotify.com. If you haven't missed the show, you can find these, of course, on these outlets. And all episodes are uploaded midnight Wednesday morning for your listening and viewing pleasure. And finally, if you have any questions or comments about the podcast or guests or program and everything else, feel free to shoot us an email at rbdgthepodcast@gmail.com. That's rbdgthepodcast, one word, @gmail.com. So, the final home game of the 2025 season went off with a whimper. It was good to see some friends. Of course, we're going to be shaking hands and giving hugs, and we're not going to see each other until opening day. But for all, for all intents and purposes, it was good to see some good friends and such, and we all commiserate, of course, our loss. And with that said, here are two, of course, of the hosts of the show. The coach, Mark Coates, and, of course, the Grand Wizard. Can't call him the Wizard anymore, and I'll explain that in about a minute, because somebody actually had that title and got upset over it. I'm serious. So now, so what I'm doing is I'm escalating his presence. He is the Grand Wizard. Okay? Everybody should be happy. Gentlemen, how was your weekend, first and foremost, before we begin?
Sunday was good.
Yeah, Sunday at the camp, it was great to see you guys. It was great to see you, Mark, and you, Nick, and, of course, Miguel. It was always, having fun, and, of course, we'll talk about the game that we all saw, and we're all in in a celebratory mood, especially you, Mark. I mean, this is,
Yeah, I know. I champion these boys.
Yeah, you are, I mean, you definitely, and the reason why these guys should be showing up and stuff like that. So, let's talk about what happened Saturday. Now, Saturday. Let's talk about what happened.
Nothing to talk about. We didn't score.
No, we did not. I mean, let's, look. We've all known that the season was pretty much over. And although fans were coming in, they were expecting at least a win. But half the place felt like it was a funeral, of course, because of the expectations that were placed. Okay. Talk about the home, the games of the home season. Was it a disappointment? Forget about making the playoffs or not, Mark, Nick. was the home season. It's the season at Sports Illustrated Stadium. I'm trying not to call it Red Bull Arena. Was it satisfactory to you, or there were some games that they could have at least tried to clear the table? Let's start with that. There, go ahead. All things considered.
Oh, besides the Miami game and the other game that really stinks was the DC game at home. Besides those two stinkers, we played extremely.
Marcus holding his face.
I knew he was going to go to DC. So
not even almost 10 minutes in, and Mark, Nick, you got Mark holding his face.
The worst game of honestly, that was the first 25 minutes of we were just like, what are we watching here today? This is the effort we got on the rivalry game. This is where we got. Okay, they battled back and we lost 2-1, but that first 20 minutes was like, what are we doing on the field? Besides those two stinkers, can you really say we actually had a bad home record? We pretty much went. I think we had the third best home record in the league. Fourth, we finished with fourth. Yeah, because we plummeted. That we didn't get a win the last 3 games, but it is what it is. And I can't really say that we just needed a couple more road wins on the road to make the playoffs, and we didn't get those.
Well, there's one thing about this league, and a lot of folks seem to misplay here, is that getting a win on the road is hard in this league. Hard, okay, where parity is the rule. Despite that, what have I always said, right, fellas? Good teams win at home, great teams win, period. And there were a lot of great teams this year because we were able to do what the Red Bulls could not do, and that is, win on the road. But we're not going to talk about the road, the road record right now because obviously it's woeful. But you, Mark, I mean, did the season over at the CIS? Yeah, I'm calling it that. I know. The CIS was satisfactory to you.
We'll just use the term the cathedral. It was, for the most part, it was nice to see us play like relatively at home. 10 wins is nothing to sneeze at.
You're gonna have to repeat that. You're faded out just a little bit.
Right. I said 10 wins is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, we definitely had solid home season. I think the attendance was good. It was loud. The fans let people know where they were. So overall, I don't think it was a terrible home season. It was not getting it done on the road that ultimately did us in.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. I mean, the game in particular, at least to me, I mean, I was going through the emotions and everything else, and I wasn't expecting a win or a loss either way. I was talking to Dan Feuerstein in the pregame show. We were talking about at least about a 2-1 win. I think it was going to be a rock fight between FC Cincinnati and the Red Bulls. It always is. Every time these two teams, brawl, it's a physical, push shove affair, right? It's but what I did not expect was one team going for supporter shield and another team mailing it in, if my assumption was correct. And when I sent over my recap over to Anthony, who published it and whatnot, I didn't have a good feeling about this one way or another, only because I was like, damn, I mean, this is how it's going to end, like this. Well, there's definitely going to be some questions made, and whatever the case may be, to some certain individuals, and then we'll just leave it at that for now. So, as far as the game is concerned, we'll go through very quickly with the recap. I know a lot of people are always asking me, Gary, why are you doing the recap when the team loses? Because we're contractually obligated. It's just one thing. The voices you're going to hear are not Steve Cangelosi and Danny Higginbotham. I'm trying to figure out who they were, but they didn't do that game that night. You'll hear what I'm talking about right now.
In the red, FC Cincinnati in the white. And we're kicked off from Sports Illustrated Stadium in Harrison, New Jersey. Hack in the back line, awaiting movement ahead, launches it long, looking for Choupo-Moting. Moting takes it down, Here is Choupo-Moting, goes for goal! Flashes over the woodwork.
Under pressure, does so well. It's just a big ball over the top, the direct play that they wanted to be aware of, but then through traffic does so well just to collect himself. No one actually steps to him to commit.
Double teamed, FC Cincinnati deal with it. But those are the kind of giveaways that Pat Noonan was saying they need to remove from their game.
See Powell, great touch from Denke.
Lovely touch, Denke driving forward, green grass ahead. Denke goes alone! Wow! An unstoppable strike from Kevin Denke, and that's 2-2 against the Red Bulls. Cincinnati lead 1-0.
And then they can go so quickly. They do well to double team, win possession, and then just connect the first pass. But it's the first touch from Denke right in the middle of your screen that occupies the defenders right there, that takes them away, gives them a little bit of space, and then look at the three defenders. Ejanika is trying to join in with him. No one wants to step out there because they know they're not going to be able to step tight to Denke. Well, they don't do either. There's that first touch, and then Denke. What a finish this is from distance. He's waving off his own teammate and then just rifles that into the back of the net from distance to put this away team up.
An unbelievable finish from Kevin Denke. Scored his first goal in Major League Soccer play against the New York Red Bulls. But this one is even more stunning. His 15th in regular season play. Drops it back in as Powell tried to clear his lines. It's read well by Donkor. Forsberg back to Donkor. Lovely play into Choupo-Moting. Moting, square, Nealis, and it's headed away. A fantastic block out of Lucas Engel defensively. Nealis, Emil Forsberg. Forsberg forward into Yengor. Yengor hangs it up. Headed clear. Forsberg, quick save by Loro. Loro, point-blank reaction save off of the quick strike from Emil Forsberg.
But the execution, once again, right here, just not played to anyone. No one's attacking it. No late runs trying to gamble.
Denke, forward to the runner as it's cut and striked by Lucas Engel wide of the mark.
Well, you can see the
threaded ball forward to Choupo-Moting. Toe poked away. Recovered by Goma. Goma cut it towards the right. Choupo-Moting! And it's deflected over the crossbar. Last-ditch defending coming up top, Samuel Giddy.
The game all along. Much more lively now from the Red Bulls as they start to open up this game. Goma has looked so bright on that left-hand side, but it's the execution in the final pass that has let them down consistently.
Paul awaiting reinforcements back to Duncan. Harker chips it forwards, one in the air, FC Cincinnati. Only as far as Morales, driven. Emil Forsberg reaps the rewards, tried to thread it through, couldn't do so. And here comes the counter-attack. Jabari pops it to Denke. Denke has his pocket picked. Duncan urged to shoot. Duncan, Loro settles things down and will hold it as Boots calming down the situation.
Stays connected to Powell.
Forsberg, low, headed away. Foot race on, Orejano pressing. The one-time cross up in the air for the Red Bulls. Cleared as a shot from distance hits the bar, and then again. Twice it's smashed into the post. And FC Cincinnati cling on.
And FC Cincinnati defensively. Here's the first look. Low, hard to that far post. Looks like he almost had it covered, but still gets a little help of the post, and then
it's last-ditch saloon, Hail Mary time. Choupo-Moting can't get there. Kai Kamara combines. And the final whistle blows from Alexis De Silva.
So you get
New York Red Bulls
nothing.
drop another match.
You lose. Good day, sir.
And that's pretty much it. All was long said and done. FC Cincinnati won. The goal from Denke in the 12th minute. New York Red Bulls got shut out. 0. Very disappointing end, the way to end the home season. It was just plain and simple. It was a dreadful thing. I mean, there's really nothing, there's really nothing more to say about that other than the fact that, I guess they expected something, but can you expect when, all intents and purposes, the season for many of the fans was over? Your thoughts, guys?
Well, I think we knew that the season was over Wednesday, or possibly sooner. Um, it was disappointing that we couldn't go out with a win at the finale for the season at home. It boggles my mind. We had 16 shots, but only 3 got through, and of course, Post doesn't like us at all.
I mean,
So
did you see that space that Hack gave
let's.
10K? I mean,
I would be very happy if he's. I know we're going to discuss roster moves and their subsequent roster moves that are going to happen. I think everybody in the thread on Saturday agreed we don't want to see him in a Red Bull uniform next year. He's been atrocious. Every write up Nick's done, with the exception of maybe one game, he was miserable.
yeah, he was miserable.
So,
He was in the bottom. He was basically bottom 3. Am I right, Nick? He was in the bottom 3 of your ranking collectively.
Does he play defense? I think we learned that opening night.
A defender that can't play defense.
The first goal. Look at the first goal of the season against Cincinnati. Let's look all the way back to that. And back in February, a long ball lobbed into the box. Yes, Coronel did not decide to come out, but Hack didn't do anything. He just stayed there and looked at it. Hello, hey Hack, you mind doing something? Well, that's your job. You're guarding Denke, and Denke just goes, "Okay, you're not going to do anything. I'm just going to spin off you." And right to the, that was the first goal of the season. That's how we lost. As things changed since then, look what he did in that play. Ole, what were you kicking at? And then he did.
So.
And Morales was trying to play off his hip. Well, Morales was never going to shut that down.
No.
The minute he spun, I'm like, oh God, Hack, please take the ball, take the body, take.
you would think that for a guy that big, he could have stepped into him.
Foul him at half court. Sorry, half.
But
Nothing.
nothing.
Foul him in the field. What is Parker? First of all, and the other part was, why is Parker pressing a guy at that spot all the way to the right, all the way to the left hand side of the field?
Good question.
The right hand side.
So our center backs don't know how to play center back.
All the way upfield because of the way we press. Dylan was up there taking. Sorry, who was up there on the right hand side to start? Was it Sofa was on the right, or was it Gengar? Gengar's spot. He was on
Gengar's spot. Yeah.
He was on Gengar's spot, but Gengar was pressing the ball, pressing the goalie. So done. So Nealis went all the way up front. Now, Parker, you have to know, in our system, you've been here for forever, you can't go up and guard that spot and play Ole. You either foul him, muscle him, and make him go back. And you did none of the 3.
Yeah, none of the above.
None of the above. And then Denke showed skill. We give the guy a lot of credit for the possession and the finish. But what are we doing?
Oh, it was a beautiful goal.
Right.
I'm not taking that away from
wearing our uniform.
No, you're right. I'm not taking anything away. It was a street strike, but you're talking about a person who knows what to do with the ball, even from yards out from distance. And guys, just this is what I said. This is what I saw. When they were just moving the ball side to side, left to right. Okay. No one was going into the box. Nobody was, unless there was a pass in the box. And even if you threw the ball in the box into, say, Forsberg's feet, defense already had collapsed on it. So, it's a little bit too late. It was up until Serge Goma when he was inserted in the game. And, excuse me?
Him and Hall, both of them.
Yeah, him and Hall. And then Serge decided, you know what? I'm going to attack the box. I was like, well, somebody figured it out. I mean, you're not gonna score by just standing there, shifting passes and moving the ball left to right, side to side, and out to the back. Take the ball, dive in the box. 2 things are going to happen if you do something like that. Either A, they stupidly tackle you in the box, or B, you rocket a shot off the keeper. We know Evan Laurel, okay? Shot stopper, but he has hands of a brick. We know that. So there's going to be rebounds aplenty. Take the shot
I
and
think
have somebody poaching the ball.
and they knew that too, but they collapsed everything in the 6-yard box. How
Yeah,
many?
I mean, they knew it. They knew it. They said, no, we ain't got a regular keep it there. We like this guy, but
How many? The Forsberg shot, the Chupo shot that they cleared off the line. They cleared 3 balls off the line, but they knew Laurel was going to have his hands full and leave a rebound, so they cleared things away too, making
Yeah.
sure nothing that came around.
yeah, I mean, the defense played. Their defense was superb, if I may say. They stopped a lot of shots from going in. Ours, not so much. And this is something that I asked the coach post game. Y'all saw it, y'all heard it. I'm like, okay, is this something that you want to see come next year? Guys just going into the box instead of just passing left, passing right, passing back, passing front. All these passes and everyone's standing around. You're giving the defense a layup, as far as that is concerned. You're making it too easy for them. It's almost like, well, you're not going to score. I'm just going to stand here and have a cup of coffee because all you guys are going to do is pass. And I don't mind when teams do that. I don't mind the teams pass, but move, guys, move. I mean, they didn't see that. What you saw was a microcosm of what's been happening with the midfield. Over in 2018, Nick, didn't see that much. There was a lot of attack in 2018. As soon as they got the ball, they were diving in the box. There were more. But then again, you had a midfielder, okay, Sasha Kleishen, who was just lethal at that spot, and he would just simply tell guys, "Go, dive, go. I got this. I'm gonna find you." And that's and I'm not saying that that's Email's game. But I figured he would be more like, but unfortunately, we don't have players that can dive in the box. And unfortunately, there you go. I mean, this is what we have. The only bright spot, of course, is defender Raheem Edwards, the same Raheem Edwards with the incident over in South Ward, but that's been squashed. Made his 200th career MLS appearance into that match. That's it. Okay, and as we said before, there's going to be the FIFA International break. You mean but there's going to be some games played during that will run from October 6th to the 14th. After the break, the Red Bulls are going to head off to lower.com field, the Battle of Columbus Crew, on the 18th for Decision Day. Kickoff for all games on the East Coast slot, 6 p.m. There's not going to be any staggering, time. Everyone starts at the same time. 2 hours later, then of course, as you know, there is the West Coast games will take place shortly after that. So it comes down to one game, and of course, one game versus Columbus Crew. Before we put this silly thing to bed, game balls. I mean, there has to be a kind of bright spot for one or two. Other than that, I mean, who's your game ball going? Doesn't matter if it's going to the home team or the road team. Go ahead.
You got to give it to Denke for the goal.
Yeah.
But from our side, there really wasn't much of a standout, except for Chupo. Chupo was his usual self. He had 2 creative shots, 2 shots on himself. I give it to Chupo.
Okay.
I won't argue with that either.
You won't get it. Denke for me as well, but Brenner, but Brenner, he was the one that led the assist that led up to the goal with a great pass, and those two were they've been doing it. They've been doing it all year, okay. And I warned many of the fans according to my pregame show. I said this is a team that's not afraid to play on the road. They've had the best record on the roads, and they do. Imagine if we were able to get, imagine if we would have that same, status on the road as we did at home. We'd be in the playoffs by now. But unfortunately, nah. I mean, that's something that's something that has to fix. So that game is done and dusted. It was played in front of 25,000 fans. Yet that's the 3rd straight game that they had that number. They've had a decent home season. On the road, as we know, not so much. So that's all and said and done. Ugh. One more game to go, and then of course we put the season to bed. And for that, we're going to talk about that. Nick Lianos, we're going to talk about the story that is Columbus Crew. Remember when these dudes were fighting? Nick, do you remember back in week 3, these guys were fighting for first place?
Yeah.
The Columbus Crew? How far have they fallen? I mean, they've fallen, but they didn't fall too far when they nearly fell out. But now, they're in the playoffs, and it doesn't matter to them, but they could wind up literally they're sitting in ninth place.
No.
And that's what, strange how things happen to work out in this conference. And this is, Mark, we talked about this, right? We said that this year was going to be competitive. Well,
it was.
Here you go. It was. I mean, the only team, of course, that stood up there for the longest, because they slipped a little bit, but they came right back. And then, of course, that is the Philadelphia Union. Almost much I hate to say. I mean, I don't hate the club, but congratulations to them for their second Supporters Shield. For winner. The first one was, as you remember, back in 2010. So, not 2010. Excuse me. 2020, the year of the COVID. Let's hope that they have better fortunes. I don't want them having better fortunes or something. I don't want them getting any more than that, because I don't want. I mean, if you think City would be a pain in the ass if they won the cup, imagine Philly. They will never let us down. No, that's one organization. I don't want them winning anything but that. But we're going to take a break. When we return, the story that is the Columbus Crew, and of course Anthony Merced, his final Red Bull download. See you in 30 seconds. Apologies for those of us who saw Red Bulls in orange instead of red. Our correct team with the graphics was a little late with the program. Let's talk about the Columbus Crew, shall we? The Columbus Crew will be facing these guys, of course, on the final day of the season. Match 40. Game, note the time, 6:15. Head-to-head, all-time regular season, 33, 35, 14. But over Columbus, 16, 25, and 7. This is their 83rd. Last win was, of course, we remember the crazy playoff game where, as Anthony put it very thusly, I was sitting there looking like I was having a heart attack throughout the entire thing, but it was the only game that we got to win on my birthday, and as everyone knows...
You froze. I want to be very clear about this. Like, I was looking at you, and you literally were like this.
Because I was dreading the worst. Okay, because I told you, Anthony, nothing good when it comes to playoffs and the Red Bulls on my birthday. Nothing ever comes good out of it. But it was it was.
I nearly fell off my chair. It was really funny.
All right, so Nick, Columbus, they're funny. They're a funny squad, right? I mean, they were in the heights, and they almost basically crashed almost out of it. But they had, luckily for them, they didn't run out of games. Go ahead, my man.
Columbus Crew, coached by, I just forgot his name. Coach, what? Is it coach again? I just drew a blank at his name. Drew a blank. So they're in 9th place now in the Eastern Conference after a poor last 2 months where they have only one win the last 10 games. They're still led by Diego Rossi, who has 16 goals. Jason Russell Rowe has 7. And the new import.
How do you not win in 2 months?
they have 1 win in 2 months. 1 win, yeah. Wesson Abu Ali, who came over from after a great showing in the World Club Championship, has 3 goals in 5 games, but he got hurt, and he's supposed to be back for the game when we start in 2 weeks. Max Arferson is their one of their key playmakers, has 4 goals and 5 assists. Their back line of Sean Zawodowski, Chaberko, and Camacho are still very good, but this year they're a little off. They've conceded 50 goals. and he scored 52. They've gone from in 2020. They've gone from in 2024. They were second and third place with 66 points. This year they're at 51. It's a huge drop off for them. As I said, the form stinks. They've only had one win in the last 2 months, 4 draws, three losses, and 1 win. Ever since the League Cup pretty much put a kibosh on their mojo going forward. And Patrick Schulte only has 4 clean sheets the whole year.
That's it.
That's it.
Wow.
They're leaking goals all over the place, which is something I didn't expect. This was a team that's always.
Again, man, I had penciled them in, Anthony, as one of the top 4 teams in the conference.
They
For
started
them to drop like this, I'm like, okay.
When League Cup started, they were in 4th place.
Yeah.
They've since with them only getting 6 points the last 2 months, they've dropped all the way to 9th. Right now they're on the road facing Chicago after the season ended today. So they can finish as high as 6th and as low as 9th on decision day.
There is one player that has defined the Columbus Crew.
Yeah, we know.
Quite some time. And he is going to be retiring. And while he has a lot of minutes this year, he has had a lot of injury woes. Does anybody want to say his name?
No, because he kills us every year. I don't want to remember that guy.
Darlington Nagbe.
Darlington Nagbe. Darlington Nagbe is
Just thorn in our side.
No, he is an MLS Hall of
Famer
midfielder. He is a phenomenal player, and he has helped Atlanta. He's helped Columbus. He's helped a lot of teams through their issues, and he can't do it anymore. He just can't. And so, he is retiring at the end of this year, as I think I heard that about an hour or 2 ago. So look, like, he has really been that kind of a player in MLS. So the fact that he is retiring and you've seen the decline that's happened for him is, in my opinion, why Columbus is faltering.
Yeah, I mean, because when he's at his best, as we all know, that team, as he goes, so does the crew, right? He's definitely the straw that that stirs the drink. Mark, the game means absolutely nothing. Okay, it's the last game of the season. Technically, there are some guys that are basically playing for their jobs. We'll talk about that in about a bit, but if you're the Red Bulls, you want to end this thing in a win, at least get one on the road, or do you just pack up and head home from this?
I think for a lot of guys on this team and Sandro, you're going to have to throw everything you possibly can into getting a win, because a lot of these guys, they're surely on the ropes about whether or not they're coming back, getting moved out. I would say we have to go all in and get a win. I mean, the worst thing that happens is that we get a draw. Maybe we knock them down and they stay down in 9th, because I know it's really tight between them and Chicago. So
yeah, 1 point.
Yeah, so if they can't get 3 points, even if they just get a point, it's not enough for them to leapfrog over Chicago.
Mm-mm.
It's a small moral victory, but at this point in the season, do we take it? Sure.
Of course.
I'd love to see us get a final win for the season. And I think Sandra was talking about wanting to exceed our points total from last year.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been nice had a couple of guys been able to connect with their shots. Like I said, we didn't even mention Dylan had a golden opportunity in the first half, and he did nothing with it. I mean, and that was just that's the story for the whole team.
When the ball falls through a defender's feet, you shouldn't expect him to put it away. The issue is it shouldn't be falling.
He doesn't have feet. He doesn't have feet.
Well, come on, Anthony.
Defenders do not put goals away. I don't care what league you're in. You should not rely on defenders putting goals away.
No, but if the opportunity presents itself, you should be able to put it in a good position. Dylan was. You could see he was. He knew he didn't take the shot as well as he could have.
You're fading.
But yeah, but it's the whole situation. Game long, guys just either weren't taking the shot when they had the chance, or when they did take it wasn't a quality shot, and so many of them were getting blocked. So it was a tough 90 minutes to sit there and watch the game.
Yeah. I mean, so, I agree with you that, just for the fans, just throw everything out the window. I mean, what? You're not going anywhere. Try to get, try to snatch 3 points in a row and go, okay, that's something to build on. But Columbus, they don't they don't want to finish right there where they are right now. They're not going to be one the playing game. Like, oh, we got to deal with Chicago in the playing game. So, but but that's where they're staring at in the face. So,
their positioning depends on Orlando too, who's playing
right
Wednesday night, and they have a makeup game Wednesday night against Vancouver. Who gave this guy that schedule? Vancouver. He has to fly cross country to Miami and then cross country to Orlando.
It's called American sports. I mean, like you fly cross country all the time.
I mean,
well, besides, they
better them than us, right? So there you go.
Their makeup game over there. That'll be game 33 for Orlando. So Orlando is at 53 points. If they win, they can be just like right behind NYCFC, which is at 56, and Charlotte is also at 56. But they'll be, depending on how things shake out. The top 3 are secured already. Philadelphia's 1. Cincinnati, Miami still got 2 games left. So Miami and Cincinnati. Cincinnati wins their last game, they'll get number 2. Miami will get 3. And then everybody else is playing from 4 to 9. Good luck trying to sort it out on decision day. And that's
all we know. All we know is that we're not going anywhere.
The West Coast, we're in the playoffs with 43 points, technically.
Well, that's basically it. So, basically, it's all about seeding at this point. For Anthony, we talked about the season ahead before a single ball was kicked. And we looked at the Eastern Conference. We saw a lot of teams bulking up, okay? And the back of my mind, it still resonates. I said, these guys, there could be a possibility these guys may not finish make it to the playoffs this year if they don't get, reinforcements. And so far they haven't. Would you say that the transfer windows, the winter transfer window and the summer transfer window were flops at this point because of not necessarily what they brought in, but who they brought in?
No, I would say that injuries really plagued this team all year long. In the offseason, they brought in Eric Choupo-Moting, who has been the best striker this team has had since Bradley Wright Phillips.
He's an MVP.
But they lost. They lost 2 big. Look, 2020. Look, let's all be honest, right? This team doesn't make the playoffs in 2023 without a fluke penalty, that gets them in. Who didn't play that year? Lewis Morgan. Lewis Morgan didn't play this year. What happened to the team? They didn't make it in. And I know that a lot of fans kind of say, oh, well, it shouldn't be down to just one player. This is MLS. Everything is down to just one player. And the worst part is it's 2 players because they also relied on Cam Harper, couldn't replace him. They tried different things. It didn't work. In the summer transfer window when they could have brought people in, I know everybody had their heart set on Timo Werner, whatever. We don't know how that would have worked out. But the truth is this team was always working with the injuries and the high prices that were on the injury list the entire time. And it just didn't work out. That's just how it is. Now, next season, are things going to change dramatically? Probably in a few different areas. But really, this season is defined by the fact that injuries and giving young players a chance to thrive just didn't quite work out for them.
Well, We're also hearing some word that Jochen Schneider is on the in the inside track for the bunch of Gladbach job. We're still trying to figure out how is that possible, but well,
Like in what? Like
Bye.
I mean, he's a.
Bye.
I mean, he's got a history in the Bundesliga, so
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, totally. So here's the one thing about Jochen Snyder, and I'm going to ask you guys this:
Go ahead.
what is your big, and I know this, but like what is your big failure that you think that he didn't do?
All right, I'm going to save mine for last. Mark, Nick, you guys go first.
Oh, I have my list because Anthony told me to do my homework. So I have the homework, bro. If you
I
want
can't
to
read it. What is it? Read it to
Yeah,
me.
I have the 2021 summer signings because you called me out on it the last time you were on. Listen,
Okay.
we
Was he there in 2020? I thought that was still
He got hired in June.
yeah. So
He was hired in June.
last year we got the only signing we brought in the summer was Cabal, and
that's not true.
Not true. Nope.
That's not true.
Wrong guy.
the in 2024 that's the only one that they list for a summer transfer. I'm not talking
In
about
2024, yes.
yes.
You said 2022.
Oh, sorry. No, I said I have since 22 on my list.
Oh, okay.
Well, like I said, but 24 was Carballo. We were talking just about Schneider. Okay.
Yes.
Right. So,
And Carballo scored the game, essentially the game winner against NYCFC.
Right. He was instrumental in the playoff.
Yes.
He didn't do much at the beginning of the season, and he didn't.
He wasn't here in the beginning of the season. He was a summer.
I'm saying when during the regular season, right? And like the beginning of this season, I was at the Nashville game when he chased the referee across the field to get yellow, which was absolutely preposterous. And he was doing very little, and then it eventually worked his way out.
So does the NYCFC game mean nothing?
It's not that it doesn't mean anything, but see, you're going to give the guy credit for scoring 8 goals.
I'm giving him credit for scoring one of the biggest goals in
the
playoff.
And like I said, when we look at who left this past year, we have Reyes. I don't want to get into that one. Manuel Van Zier, who were no Colton left. I don't count for it.
You're underwater. Repeat that.
Yeah. No, I said
I heard Van Zier and Reyes. What did you say after that?
We lost John Tolkien. The year before. So,
I'm sorry, Mark. You said after that, John Tolkien.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you look at who was brought in, okay, you brought in Hack, who obviously didn't do a great job. Chupo was a huge surprise to some of us. Some of us thought he would be decent, but Bogosh has done nothing. Morales has done nothing. Raheem Edwards is just a journeyman. Bergwijn was brought in. He did not have much of an impact. Yes, we had 2 major injuries, but there was never a move that could offset those injuries. So, as a fan base, the fans look and say, well, why aren't we doing something? Because I happen to follow a certain team in England, and every time a player goes down, they spend $6 million, $10 million to find somebody else.
Never compare an MLS team to
the English Premier League team.
Right. Never do that.
But you can't do any of that.
It is not a.
That's comparing apples to an orange.
Right, and that's going to be one of the problems when people say, "Oh, when you're handcuffed by the rules."
Yeah.
All right, then you're stuck with mediocrity. And I'm not.
I mean, you can say that, sure. But again, I have to go back to it. So, Tolkien was going to go no matter who was here. Right. Doesn't matter the sporting director.
We've yet to find somebody to replace, at least come close to replacing him.
So, did you think that they failed in that way?
I think that somebody's not working hard enough.
You're gonna have to flesh that out a little bit because that was ambiguous there.
I don't think that they've gone and looked under every stone. Okay.
What does that mean? Like, so did you think that the replacement of John Tolkien, whether it be Dylan or
there are
Edward,
plenty of places.
Anthony, let him finish. Go ahead, Mark. Let him
Plenty of
finish.
places we can look. We've Gary and I have said it for God knows how long. The USL is full of journeymen, solid, decent quality players that could be brought in that are better than trying to pick a 16 or 17-year-old kid off the academy yet. Why isn't that even remotely looked at? That's one of my questions.
I'm really sorry, Mark. Can you repeat that last part again? I'm sorry, I couldn't
No,
hear you.
I don't understand why we constantly rely on 16 or 17-year-old academy kids to sort of come up and try to fill in the blank. They're not ready. They're not even close to being ready. We were at the 2 game yesterday. I love watching these guys, but they're not going to start taking on 10, 15-year MLS veterans. They're going to keep their balance going on the field. They're going to. Aiden Stokes looked like the deer in the headlights when he was up, and he was sitting on the bench as the number 2. It's a different story when you're there hanging out and you're the number 3. But when you realize that you're the number 2 and you've never done that before in front of a crowd that big, it makes a difference. It was how many of us? 300 maybe at MSU yesterday. It's different when you have 20,000 in the stands, and I think that comes into it too. I know I was reading a couple different articles that were written about the fact that they're young, they're still growing, and they still have to mature. But that's the opportunity that when Red Bull 2 was in USL, they got a chance to experience the game against veteran adult players, not teenagers, high school kids. Because that's all Next Pro is, really, is high school kids playing high school kids. So
That last part you said, MLS Next Pro is high school kids playing high school kids. Is that what you said? The last part?
yeah, for the most part. I mean, you don't have that many true veteran players that play on Next Pro. It's not like USL when Red Bull 2, 2016, 2017, 2018. You always had a couple of guys from the first team down getting minutes.
Well, that did happen this year. We
Right.
did see a lot of
a couple of them down, but not as often. It doesn't happen as often as it used to.
It happened quite often, actually.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of players that were signed to the first team come down.
Right.
Yeah, Wiki trying to get his trigger
Yeah.
time. He ain't gotten his trigger time.
Well, it didn't
at
help.
the time,
That's a
at the
different
time-
story.
That's a different story. At the time, excuse me.
Hall's been there.
Yeah,
Well,
Hall's been there.
Bogarts have been in there.
Yeah, so I mean, guys have gotten their shots down there. So like, and the other thing too, I want to say this is that, one of the problems that people yell about in the European leagues is that young players don't get a shot. Red Bull gave a lot of young players due to injuries a shot. Some of them proved that it ain't there, right? Like, I think we can all agree that Wiki Carmona got a shot, probably better than ever, and it didn't quite work out, at least not here.
No.
Mohamed Sofo got a great shot, and he proved he is a baller, but not at the level that was needed at that moment. Does that mean he's going to be that in the future? Yes or no? We don't know yet. But when you put young players in high pressure situations, you get peaks and valleys. And we can't judge based on the valleys. And I wrote an article about Julian Hall, which some people on the group were like, Julian Hall is, we expected more. And I'm like, he's 17 years old.
Yeah.
What he has given at this point is great. Does that mean he's going to be amazing 5 years from now? I don't know. But what he has shown is that he has enough to give him the start or more minutes next year if the way that this team is going forward allows it to happen.
All right, go ahead, Nick. Your thoughts.
All right. My thing with Johan was basically missing on the U21s so far. And Gengar. Gengar is one.
That's true.
That's a miss. Bogarts is injured / the first month. I think him missing 2 months of the season didn't help.
It really hurt. Yeah, it really hurt him.
Situation. That's a miss there. I give Johan credit for clearing out the dead weight. Manuel was a hit and miss, always on the field. Even though he did score, he never hit double digits. That's why he was easy to move. Reyes, as Mark said before, there's a whole history of there. Great decision. Vanzier, moving off Vanzier, got something for him. Got something for Klimala. Got something there. Moved off the dead weight, and hit on the DP. But when he said that comment, that really annoyed me. Well, we're going to hold the DP for next year. And when we see this team struggling this whole year, and everybody was thinking that there was the offer, well, if it's official or not official to Timo, there was no plan B in place for him to bring something in, like another attacking winger or an attacking midfielder to help relieve the burden on Emil. Because Emil is 35 years old. He needs to get he needs to be protected too, and there was nothing brought in to protect him.
33, going to be 34.
Okay. Troop was 36, I'm sorry. But Troop was 36, and there's nothing to protect him either. Well, I guess Bogas was the plan to protect him, bring him along slowly, and hell, give him some rest. But we put a lot of mileage on Emil and Trupo, and there was nothing behind them. Some due to injury, some due to roster construction, and that's what Johan has failed, the roster construction, because I understand the moves he made at the end of the year in August. Bringing Rojas, I guess you had to sign him. He's a talent, and you showed how he played yesterday in the two. He clearly has talent, and he could be something on this level. Benedetti is going to be signed, I think, officially. When, I don't know, but his other team pretty much hinted out that he's going to be a Rebel player next year. And Mosquera was signed, even though he had a slight hiccup in the under 20s. But you have potential. Why wouldn't they give him a little run on the first team after their signings? Is what's something you could point to Johan too to blame him. If you're signing these guys for now, play them. If you're signing them for next year, leave them at RB2. But couldn't those moves be made later on in the year?
So I guess my question comes down to, if you could put yourself in his shoes, let's throw Timo Werner out the window for a second. What position would you have wanted to sign someone in, and who would you have wanted?
I would have wanted another attacking mid to help out Emil. But because I think Gustav Bergen is going to play I'm going to be the defensive or box-to-box Caceres role. So I think he takes that. But I think we needed another attacking mid to help Emil out too. That's what was my thing. And the other spot was desperately needed was a right back, because Kyle Duncan and Dylan Nealis are not the answer.
Well, in what sense? Like, what did you want them to do more?
What I want them to do more, I wanted the attacking mid. Get an attacking mid.
Oh no, I'm sorry. With Kyle Duncan and Dylan Nealis, what did you want them to do more?
Play consistent.
But like, what does that mean? Like, tell me, like, what did you want them to do on the field more?
Don't give me a 1 day high, 1 day low when you're established veterans at this point.
Again, like, no. And this is the thing that frustrates me. On the field, what did you want them to do? Like, did you want them to put more balls in the box? Did you want them to, like, what did you want them to do more of? Like just saying that they're being more consistent. What is that? That doesn't mean anything.
Less stupid fouls.
Okay, that's great.
Less stupid fouls and more balls into the box. More balls into the box, because there were more balls into the box they could have been coming in from, because they were passive a lot of, and for a large portion of the season, both of them were very passive going forward, and Dylan especially.
And early in the season, they did play a 3-back line, so they weren't necessarily, their job wasn't to do that. So I think we need to ask the question of, like, were they asked to be that this year, or are we projecting what we thought was going to be the game plan this year?
But isn't your wing supposed to be the guy that throws the ball into the box? If you're playing the wing,
they did not do that all year. No wing back did that all year.
That's what we're getting at.
I understand that, but that wasn't the strategy this year. So that's not on them. That's on the coaching. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
I understand where you're coming from. I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah. Well,
So I just want to be clear because I don't want to knock guys for doing what they were asked to do versus what they were asked to do and didn't do it. Do you know what I mean?
my general problem, and we discussed this, Anthony, was I'm comparing the 2018 team to this team, which is not
Which you
that fair
can't do.
for which I know I can't do.
Oh, you
But
can.
but if
No,
there's
you
one
can't.
thing, no,
Two
but if
different
there's
teams.
two different teams. You're right. Two different teams coached by two different players. Coached by two different coaches. So there's the yin and yang that. But if there's one thing that should be consistent throughout Red Bull football, is that it would be a strong spine. That did not happen this season.
Yeah.
There was a lot of fluidity in the midfield, and it disrupted the living hell out of this team. How many we haven't had a steady signing, and the reason why I want to compare to 2018. You're right, shouldn't do that, but there was one thing to consider. You can name 4 guys in that midfield, and they were going to be there for the remainder of the season because A, they were that good, and B, they did their job. They weren't superstars, but any stretch of the imagination, but they did their work.
Yeah.
What we've seen here, okay, we've seen guys like Edelman. We've seen guys like the brother of excuse me,
Peter Stroud.
Peter Stroud. Right. We saw Peter Stroud. We saw Doncor. We and on and on and on. It was. I saw this as the coach was trying to do different things and trying to find out what sticks. And each combination he had, it didn't work. Hence, what I feel like, okay, these were guys were given the job to hold up the spine, to cross the bridge between the defense and the offense. And in many cases, they were either outboxed, overwhelmed, or at worst, stagnant. That's how teams win in soccer. And you know what they say in basketball? No guards, no rings, right? So that's I'm looking at them and I'm like, okay, how many times have you heard me say, well, Edelman played a great game, but he needs to step up there.
Yeah,
Stroud needs to play, Stroud did so, but he needs to step up there.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth.
I'm going to give my opinion of where it went wrong.
Go ahead.
So the issue is this team was set up at the beginning of the year to be to have kind of a Christmas tree setup. So Eric Choupo-Moting would be up top and you'd have 2 10s, right? So it'd be Emile and Lewis Morgan was supposed to be the other 10. And the idea, and we've actually seen this from Choupo a lot this year. He drops in as a striker. He distributes left to right. And we've seen a lot of guys just not hit when he drops it off. The players that he was dropping off to were not the ones that he was supposed to be dropping off to.
Well, 2.
So, like, you're looking at it, right? Like, Sofo, again, I'm going to sing his praises forever because he stepped into an impossible situation, and I think he did a really great job. Is he the answer next year? Probably not. But he stepped into a really impossible job.
I'm not dogging him.
And proved that he is a MLS player.
So you're talking about Sofo, Anthony, right?
Yeah, Sofo. Yeah.
Not dogging him.
I think the minute.
So the issue is that you had Choupo up top. You were gonna have 2 10s.
Yeah.
The minute Lewis Morgan went down,
that exposed it.
It was bad. Then you had Cam go down, who is giving you the width, the speed and the width. Now you are just figuring it out every single game.
You lost your left arm, you lost your right arm, and now
nobody filled those gaps.
No, that's my point exactly. The guys that were supposed to step up didn't. And it exposed the living daylights out of his team.
Wiki, Serge, Yengar,
all those guys.
Nobody filled those gaps. Yeah,
right. I mean, I as much as I love those guys, Anthony, they're not prime time. They're not ballers.
Yeah.
Okay, they're not. I mean, when I'm talking about ballers, I'm talking about guys that don't wilt with making mistakes. We've seen this happen time and time again. and it was driving me nuts. I'm like, okay, I understand you want to bring guys up in the development stage, and it's going to happen again with a couple of more guys from New York Red Bull too. As Nick and Mark pointed out, there are going to be some guys they're going to bring up to the first team. That's great, but you're going from facing teenagers to grown ass men, okay, who are not afraid they're going to flip you like a pizza, like they do with Edelman all the time. I even whispered in the guy's ear, "Yo, man, hit the weight room, bulk up."
And look, and they got their shot, right? Like, look,
Yo,
like
bulk up, man.
This team, you get your shot on this team, right?
Yeah.
It didn't work. That's cool. Time to move on. And again, like I.
But that's my question to you.
Put
Okay.
Sofo in a box over here because I really do think he is somebody that can be used in the future.
I think
Vicky Cremona, Serge, a lot of other guys got their moments, and it didn't work out. But you had to know. You had to know.
Yeah, but let me ask you this question when we're running out of show a little bit. Let me ask you this question. Okay, you talk about, they didn't get this shot. They had this shot, but it's time to move on. So I guess my question to the organization is, when do you move on? When do you say, okay, the kids are great, but they're not ready. No disrespect to them, but we need to get ballers. We need to, build a team that can actually not compete, but win.
Depends on what your definition of ballers is.
Okay, well, my definition of ballers is having the savvy enough to, when they play against high pressure, situations, like a derby, like anything, they don't wilt under pressure, and then we just shrug our shoulders. It is what it is. But to a fan who invested their time and their money and everything else, that's a slap in the face. I'm sorry.
Not.
That it is. It's a slap in the face.
It's not a slap in the face.
Okay, then what do you call it then?
It is. It's a stumble essentially. A slap in the face is Montreal or DC or a team that has spent the last 5 or 6 years just constantly falling on their face, right?
Right.
Montreal made the playoffs.
It could become that. What was that, Nick?
Montreal did make the playoffs last year.
Sure. Well, also, Philadelphia didn't make the playoffs last year, and our Supporter Shield's winner this year. So, I don't want to use this year as it's a slap in the face of fans, blah, blah, blah. This is a stumble. And so the question is now, how do they recover from that stumble? And look, we know there's going to be a new goalkeeper. We know that already. And I know that, and none of us have any insider info, but look, does he wear the captain armband for the game if he's not coming back next year? Let's be real. He's gone. There's going to be a new goalkeeper. We know there's an open DP slot. We know that there's a lot of whatever, funny money.
Tam and whatever. MLS bucks, whatever.
Garber bucks, man.
Garber bucks. Garber bucks.
The Garber bucks. There you go. So they're going to have to make moves, right? They're going to have to make it happen. Now, what that means, I don't know yet, but we know that they're going to have to, and whether it works or not, we'll see. But look, this team has tried every method humanly possible to win an MLS Cup and have not done it. They've done the big money spending. They've done the low money spending. They've done the mid-side spending. They've done the academy route. They've done everything and everything.
I mean, right. If you go through the club's history, you'll see it. How they did that. They've done it all. I mean, the only thing they haven't done, win. And that's and that is the coup de grace for many of the courts, like freshly referred to them as the Furious Faithful, because you got to be furious to follow this team. But
stop yelling at players.
And stop yelling at players. I mean, they're human. All right. Last piece of business before we say goodnight. There are some good news to report this weekend, and that is New York Red Bull 2. They won their game versus Toronto FC 2-1, and it comes with a caveat. Because of this win, they basically clinched home field. That's right. They clinched home field. They also won the division. They won for the conference and such. So the playoff schedule will be TBA. But more than likely, it will take place at the campus. Okay, in an MSU soccer park. My suggestion for those guys that are sitting on the fence, wanting to throw their hands up and say, "The hell with Red Bull," Go see the kids. Okay? Enough with the nonsense. Grab the rest of the guys in the supporters group and go. Okay? They can use your support. I mean, it's going to be depending who they face, it's going to be a wild ride with these guys. But go see them and give them lend you your support since the first team is pretty much all set.
Prove your
and
faith
done.
in the team and support the
Hey, when
kids.
this is
Love
set
Red
up.
Bulls too.
Yeah,
Listen, we had a great time yesterday between myself, Nick,
we had a ball.
Yeah, we were. Gary came over at halftime, so we asked him, "Are we fired yet?" so we had a blast. It was fun watching. You could see why Rojas got cut. He's got potential, and watching Roel Mitchell come out and just fun. It's great to see him back. I missed the game where he was injured, but I had seen him at the previous few games last year. It was sad to see him go down because I think he's got a lot of potential.
Yeah.
You see that there are guys there that have that drive. Not all of them have it, but some of them do. And of course, Michael Bradley was thrilled to be in a position where he's taking over a team that has been doing well, and he has just continued to keep them on track. And it's great to see him getting the success at home as well. So I'm excited for what's going to come in the playoffs for the kids.
They're definitely playing basically in his style, and it is going to be very interesting. Anthony, we've seen in the playoffs because this is going to be, if they go far enough, who knows? Semifinals or the final conference finals will take place at Red Bull Arena. Who knows?
There's only one team that can make them go on the road right now, and that's St. Louis. St. Louis is the only team that has a higher point total than Red Bull 2. So if St. Louis makes it to the final, they'll travel there. If not, everybody's coming to Jersey.
Everyone's coming to Jersey. So that basically, speaking of Jersey, that is New Jersey, New York. That is New Jersey, New York. Gotham FC, Seattle Reign ended in a 0-0 draw. You're going to find out, that extends, of course, their winning streak to 11 games. Okay, they're now third place in the packed NWSL standings, maintaining 1 point edge on the Seattle Portland Thorns, tied for the club's record by extending their unbeaten streak to 11 games across all competitions. Gotham has not allowed a goal in 292 minutes of play. Ouch! They're basically stoning people. And when you look at that, when you took a look at that thing, when it was like one shot on goal, one shot, nothing on goal, that's not a misprint. They basically held Seattle Reign to one shot. That's it. They spent. How do you spend? It's kind of funny how you spend 90 minutes running around with one shot, but that Gotham is doing it. They're shutting it down with defense, and they're doing quite well. Their next home game, I believe. If I'm looking at it, yes. Repeat that.
Their next game is versus KC in KC.
Yeah, in KC, that's going to be fun. The team they basically have been chasing all. Everyone's been chasing, so that's basically they're going to be dealing with Kansas City, and that game will take place on October 11th. 5:00 is kickoff time, so that's where we stand right now. Columbus, I'm going to give this, just for the heck of it. 2-1 win for the Red Bulls. Why not? I don't know. Just give the fans something to smile about before we all said and done. All right, guys, your turn before we bring the closing credits.
2-2.
I'm not even gonna.
I go 2-2.
See, I was gonna go 1-1. I don't get a win, but I think each team will get a goal.
I like 2-1. I think that Red Bull has enough chances.
I mean,
they can make it happen.
Columbus is in a bad way right now, but then again, I hate bringing this up. This team has a ridiculous propensity to take teams that are lower than them in the standings and screw up. But in this case, they're above them in the standings. So, that should
you don't know what to expect.
Right. You don't know what to expect. That's but as always, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions or comments or anything else, drop a line to us at RBDG, the podcast at gmail.com. We always read our email long after we say good night. And of course, you can always catch Anthony Merced along yours truly on AJM Sports FC. We're not done. But I'll be still crawling in New York Red Bulls too. Anthony will be with New York City FC.
Still on the city beat.
Still on the
There's at
city
least one
beat.
New York team still in the playoffs.
So you still got some work to do. And
as long as
else.
the Yankees are playing, the city will be playing at City Field.
Don't remind me, man. I mean, I don't know how you can look in the mirror and call for 22 runs after.
How long is that going to last? Maybe another 2 days if you're lucky.
I don't know. I don't know how young or old you guys were, but I remember 2001 when the Yankees went down 2-0 to the
1-3 straight
Athletics after being absolutely blown out in 1-3 games. So I am a believer.
Yeah,
that's a different thing. Do you trust Rodon now? You're telling me you decided you trust Carlos Rodon to pitch the game of
in
his
the
life?
Playoffs? Yes, I do.
Yes, I
what
do.
He did last year.
You're delusional if you think he's going to do that. As a Yankees fan, no, I don't trust
You're calling me delusional sitting there with Red Bull shit on.
Hey, I am supporting what I do as a podcast. I'm supporting my Red Bull team.
All right. Schedule check. We are going to be away for the next 2 weeks, as you know. We will give the update for the Columbus game, and then after that, we're going to be away for a month because then we're talking about post-season, postscript. There will be 3 shows on that note. Anthony, of course, will be there to basically, as we like to say, turn the shovel on the 2025 season and turn the page. Of course, we're going to be inviting some good friends. In one person I'm trying to get in, but I will not reveal him unless he shows up. So we'll see what happens from there. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, we are done. We'd like to thank you all for joining us and hanging out with us for this last hour. For Mark Coates, Nick Lianos, and myself, Gary Redmond, thanks for joining us. We will see you guys later. Until then, good night and goodbye for now.